Hey Peculiars, I'm Amanda, the Peculiar Brunette, and today we're going to be talking about numerology and angel numbers. So I'm going to go into the history and origins of them. I'm going to talk about what they mean. I'm going to talk about what skeptics say. And then I'm going to go through the numbers 0 through 9 and talk about the meanings of each one of those, which will in turn show you how to calculate any numerology or angel numbers that keep appearing to you. You'll be able to figure out what they mean. So say you keep seeing the number 727, I will show you how to calculate that out for yourself so you don't have to rely on anyone else to tell you their meanings. Don't forget to sign up for the Magical Monday newsletter that I'll have linked below so you can stay updated on all things peculiar. And let's jump in. As more people embrace their magic and spiritual paths, it's inevitable that they're going to be drawn to numerology. Depending on your belief system, numbers are how the universe, your angels, spirit guides, or ancestors communicate with you. That's because each number has its own frequency, vibration, and energy, kind of similar to crystals and colors. So kind of like astrology, numerology is a method that we can use to enhance our understanding of ourselves and our purpose in life so that we can truly thrive. So what is numerology? So like I kind of already said, numerology is the belief that numbers have spiritual powers and that they each vibrate at their own frequencies. Greek philosopher Pythagoras is often credited with being the creator of numbers' mystical and sacred characteristics and meanings. He believed that numbers and numerology were for the magical people of the world, and that those who knew it understood the soul's journey. Now, why did Pythagoras think that numbers were sacred? Well, he had various reasons for this, including correspondences with musical harmony, sacred geometry, astronomy, architecture, and kind of like I talked about in the pentagram video, that the pentagram, has these mathematical proportions that make it sacred as well. However, I would just like to note that Pythagoras studied in Egypt for over 20 years, and it's believed to be the source for many of numerology ideas that he obviously just did not credit them. In fact, according to Britannica.com, the ancient Babylonians observed the movements of the planets, recorded them as numbers, and used them to predict eclipses and other astronomical phenomena. The priesthood of ancient Egypt used numbers to predict the flooding of the Nile. You can also find numerology in ancient Chinese, Mayan, and Jewish philosophies and beliefs. Many other cultures would add and calculate specific number sequences, like, for example, the year, like the 4 digits of a year, to define characteristics and spiritual meanings. And also, like I talked about in my sigils video, in ancient Chinese beliefs, they also believed that the Lo Shu grid, which was a 3x3 pattern found on the back of a turtle shell, was considered a perfect magical square. It's really hard to deny that the universe derives from complex mathematics and that it's strongly connected with nature. We can see it for ourselves in patterns, shapes found in various places, including sunflowers, seashells, the universe, and even in our own DNA. Numbers can help align us with our purpose and incorporate more spiritual meaning into our lives. These connections are not random, and they're the universe's means of communicating ideas and feelings to us in our physical world. So is numerology real? Yes. It's called arithmancy, and it's basically the study of numeric divination. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is that Pythagoras created a chart system where he assigned the numbers to the letters of the alphabet. And it's pretty extensively used in most numerology divination today. Henrik Agrippa, he also made a numerical chart, which he outlined in his book. It's called like the De Occulta Philosophia. It's made up of 3 books, but nobody really uses it. So I wanted to talk about the Pythagoras one because that's the one that most people use. Now, I do want to mention that this is a more modern version of it because during the time of Pythagoras, they weren't really using the letters J and V. That wasn't until later in the 18th century. So this is a more modernized chart of it. So let's go through that here. So let's say that you want to find the meaning, the spiritual meaning behind your name. So I'm going to use my niece, Aubrey, as an example. So if you take a look at the chart, you can see that A is under the number 1. So you would write down on a piece of paper 1, or, you know, whatever word you're looking to do. But for this example, we're doing Aubrey. So A, so you would write down 1, and then you can see that U is under the number 3. So you'd do 3. B is under the number 2. R is under 9. E is under 5. And then Y is under 7. So you should have written down 1, 3, 2, 9, 5, and 7, which if you add all those up equals the number 27. So anytime a number reaches a double digit, you would add those together to form a single digit. So 2 plus 7 equals 9. So now you would check the significance of the number 9 to determine your name's spiritual meaning, which I'll go through each one of those here momentarily, and I'll break each one of those down, the meanings, but this is just showing you an example of how you get that number out of your name. Is numerology biblical? So numerology is not taught as part of Christian biblical beliefs, and most of the time is frowned upon. However, some individuals believe that the numbers and words in the Old Testament connect with deeper numerology meanings with the, like basically through the verses, names, prophecies, and ideas. What are angel numbers? So in the last few decades, the term angel numbers has started to become more popular, but it's basically the same as numerology. I spent a lot of time researching it to try to find out if it was like separate, like if it was part of a Christian belief in some way, like why it was specific to angels. And I could not come up with anything. I couldn't source anything stating as to like where angel numbers would differentiate from numerology. They're the same. And I don't know if maybe it makes some people feel more comfortable using the term angel numbers than it being based off of numerology, which is more like an occult spirituality type phrase. I'm not sure, but I believe that it just makes people a little bit more comfortable to use that phrase. So where are you seeing these numerology or angel numbers appear, right? So a lot of people see it on the clock. That's kind of the most common one, but let's talk about a few other ways that you might see numbers appearing to you in your everyday life that you should start to take note of. So you might see them, it might consistently reappear to you on book pages, bank account numbers, on your receipts. Sometimes people talk about the likes on a social media post. Price tags, clocks, like I said, are the most common. Song or movie time lengths, addresses, license plate numbers, dreams, and phone numbers. And I just want to add additionally too that a lot of times people think, oh, well, I just keep seeing that number. But I think you should keep your ears open too, because a lot of times you might hear a number repeated over and over to you, like say in a song or maybe on a podcast or again on a movie. Like, just pay attention to your surroundings. It definitely encourages you to kind of be more aware as to what's going on around you, but you'll start to see these numbers pop up in multiple ways. Why do numbers keep appearing to you? So depending on your beliefs, numbers that show up in synchronistic ways are either from the universe, your angels, spirit guides, ancestors, or past loved ones. So when you think of it in that way, basically numbers that keep appearing to you are basically them jumping up and down, waving, trying to get your attention and trying to show you something through these numbers. And it can happen in various moments of your life. It can happen during really crucial and important moments, to really like try to guide you and say that they're listening to you and they're there with you and they're, trying to help you make the best decision. But they can also appear to you when they just want to be like, hey, good job. Like, you're on the right track. This is a spiritual path for you. And they're basically reinforcing the idea that you already had or the decision that you made. Also, just a little side note here, the term synchronicity was coined by Carl Jung, who I talked about in the Elements video, but he basically just felt that our minds are linked to a universal system that he termed the collective unconscious, and that these synchronicities are proof of that happening, and it's a way that we're able to connect with them. Do angel numbers mean the same for everyone? So no, they do not always mean the same for everyone. So you might often come across something like, say, for example, you keep seeing the number 1111, and so you go and you Google it or something and you look it up and you're trying to be like, hey, what does this mean? And it's got like 4 or 5 different meanings. And so you're like, well, which one is it supposed to be? That's because they're not the same for every single person. So it can depend on your energy, your mood, and kind of the various stages that you're at in your life that can provide unique meanings to you. So what I always recommend people do when they read that, and they go through, like, say you see it and it's got like 5 different meanings, which one resonated with you most? Odds are one of those really jumped out at you and you're like, oh my gosh, that is like a perfect definition for me. That's your intuition speaking to you, and that is going to be the one that really resonates with you and the one that's probably the best answer for you. Sometimes there can be multiple ones. They can be kind of complex. But like I said, I'm going to jump through here in a minute. I'm going to show you how to do it yourself so you're not having to read an interpretation from someone else. As far as angel numbers, though, meaning the same for every single person, I really liked this quote by Sonia Ducey. I think it's Ducey, in her book, What is Numerology, that I thought would apply really well. So although numerology has been around since ancient times, people's relationship with and approach to numbers has inevitably changed through the ages. Around the start of the 20th century, for example, many old systems, all systems aren't neutral, were rewritten by numerologists in their own way to mirror the consciousness at that time and to accommodate the emerging needs of a new era. Ultimately, it's up to us to forge our own understanding of life through numbers. Our view of numbers will change a lot within the course of a lifetime. I just think that's an amazing quote, and it really talks about how it's not outside of us to try to understand the meanings of the numerology and angel numbers. It's within us. It's our intuition. They're speaking to us. We don't have to go to somebody else to try to get an interpretation of that or read about it. Now, yes, I do write about those on my blog. I have a breakdown of each one of them. But the reason I do that is that it's my interpretation. And if somebody else isn't wanting to go through and do all that, they can just come to my blog and read about what my interpretation is. I really want to nail home the point, though, in this video that you do not need to rely on other people's interpretations. It's your own personal connection and intuition that you can do yourself. You are smart enough and you are capable enough to do it yourself. So here are a few suggestions if you want help slowing down and working with your intuition and trying to figure out the meanings of a certain number. Here are a couple ideas. One thing I do is I will just sit and meditate on it. Just sit quietly somewhere where you're not going to be disturbed. Sometimes I used to just do this on my lunch break in my car. Like, I'd play some relaxing music and I would just sit there quietly and meditate on a number that I kept seeing over and over. Another suggestion is slowing down in the moment. When you see it, like say you keep saying 1111, when you see it, be very aware of what's happening at you right at that moment. Are you stressed out about something? Have you been thinking about something? Or you have heavy emotions on something? Or maybe you were having a conversation with somebody, or I don't know. There could be a variety of things. There's a song that was on, like something, use all 5 of your senses to kind of just deduce what's really happening in that moment when you saw that number. And it can help you start to put together what the meaning of that number is and why you're seeing it or what it's relating to. And the third thing is to really check in with yourself and fully experience the current emotions that are in your body. So are you feeling really pissed off? Are you really sad? Are you really happy? Are you scared? Are you, feeling despair? I mean, there could be so many different range of emotions that you're feeling. And it's such a good, important clue as to what the numbers are trying to speak to you, like, or what they're referencing and what it's about. So I think that those are a few ways that should help you connect. So what do you do when you keep seeing numbers appearing to you? Simple, you take action. It's not enough to just see them, it's to interpret them and then take action on them. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, how do I do that? So one is to really just sit down and connect with that meaning. Again, you're so capable of doing this yourself. I just really want to make sure you know that. Use your intuition, your thoughts, your feelings, and your spiritual practice and beliefs, and work through what those are. You can try meditating or journaling and basically just trusting your own perspectives and your own intuition on figuring that out. If you aren't able to figure it out, that's okay. It's not a race. It's not there to make you feel stressed out. They're appearing to you because they're trying to give you a sign, and they're just going to keep appearing until you figure it out and take notice. So if you always see 1111 and it's continuously happening, it's because you haven't taken action on the meaning that has been brought to you. Once you stop seeing that number, that means that they feel satisfied, the universe, your angels, whoever, feel satisfied that you took the message and did what you wanted with it, what their message was with it. And that kind of leads me into another commonly asked question: why did I stop seeing angel numbers? But think about it. I mean, angel numbers or numerology numbers would lose their importance if you saw them all the time, right? I mean, they would just lose their significance. And also, I think it's important to say that, every number isn't going to be 1111. I mean, keep an eye out for fresh new numbers that you might see on your spiritual journey. I recommend keeping a journal to write down any dreams, numbers, or unusual signs that you might see, which will help you put together synchronicities that you might not have noticed before. And this includes all things, not just numbers. I often do this with animals or colors. There's all kinds of different things that you might see, and they're all part of these messages. So keeping a journal basically helps you keep them all organized and make you see patterns that you wouldn't have seen or put together on your own. That also leads me into numerology skepticism. So what do skeptics say about numerology? Basically, skeptics state that numerology is pseudoscience and believe that people only see the numbers that they want to see and often fail to notice or intentionally avoid other numbers. So that's why, again, I go back to reminding you to keep a journal so that you can see all the numbers. You can see a good pattern of it. You're not just being like, oh, it's just 1111. Oh, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a variety of numbers that might be appearing to you, and you might just miss them. And we all do that. I mean, there's so much information that comes to us on a daily basis, especially nowadays, that it can be really hard to see some of those numbers if you're not being very present in the moment. So that's something, that I recommend to people who are kind of skeptical, because there are skeptics that are saying that there's no scientific proof or evidence to this, and they often cite, I'm not sure how to say it, I think it's apophenia, which is basically the human impulse of seeing significance in random information. And they believe that people see these repeating numbers because they're just excellent at identifying patterns. But of course, you will have to decide for yourself, my peculiar friend, on which one you believe. When we talk about numerology, your life path number often comes up a lot. A life path number is basically supposed to be your soul's destiny here in this life. So it kind of talks a little bit about personality traits, a little bit about what your goal is, and it should help you along your spiritual path. Now, I am going to make a separate video for that because it's there's a lot of information in there and I want to keep it on its own. Now I want to jump into each number. So I'm going to do 0 through 9. Again, talking about other videos I'm going to do around numerology. The other third video that I'm going to make is on master numbers. So like 11, 22, 33. Now there are some people that believe only 11 and 22 are master numbers. Some people believe, all of them are. So 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, those like double digit numbers. So we'll talk about that in another video, but right now I'm just going to jump into 0 through 9. So the number 1 is associated with the sun, new beginnings, confidence, and innovation. If you keep seeing the number 1, it's an indication you're on the edge of attracting what you've been trying to manifest. It might be the start of something fresh and unique in your life. When this happens, be cautious about how you utilize your attention and what you focus on. Don't let fear, worry, or anxiety prevent you from fulfilling your dreams. Believe in yourself, the universe, and your angels. Now is a time for a positive mindset and hopeful outlook. New adventures and experiences will be occurring in your life. The number 2 is associated with the moon, harmony, balance, and cooperation. If you keep seeing the number 2, it's an indication you should collaborate more or be aware and attentive to the feelings of others. This can involve relationships of all forms, including friends, coworkers, partners, and loved ones. Helping others is a beautiful way to connect with your soul's purpose, the universe, and serve the needs of humanity. It's a request from your angels to act in the interest of others. Angels in the universe protect all people without discrimination, sending love, support, and a beautiful and empathetic outlook on life. It can also be assigned to improve balance by focusing and giving attention to the essential aspects of your life. Peace and harmony give you the energy to achieve your goals and dreams. The number 3 is associated with Jupiter, creative thoughts, self-expression, sensitivity, and spirituality. If you keep seeing the number 3, it's indicating you are spiritually aligned with your soul's purpose, and your angel or the universe is helping you to achieve your goal. This is the best moment to follow your heart and trust that the universe has your back. Make use of your creative abilities to achieve your goals and improve your life and the lives of others. Your angels and the universe are urging you to be joyful and enthusiastic about your spiritual journey. The number 4 is associated with Uranus, organization, stability, and personal development. If you keep seeing the number 4, it's an indication to be aware of your goals and personal growth. It's advising you to be motivated and persistent in your pursuit of your professional, spiritual, and personal goals. The angels encourage you to be thorough in your work and pay attention to the small details. However, always remember progress over perfection. Don't let meticulous analysis hold you back. When you make strong and positive efforts toward achieving your goals, your angels help support you by creating a solid foundation that allows you to continue progressing along your journey. 5 is associated with Mercury, versatility, resourcefulness, and personal freedom. If you keep seeing the number 5, it's indicating change and new opportunities. Watch these new developments with an open mind and heart because they are intended to provide you with many long-lasting benefits. It's a hint that positive changes are on the way because it's connected with adventure, enthusiasm, and a spiritual awakening. It also represents the 5 magic elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, and also the pentagram meaning, and encourages you to connect with these in your spiritual practice. 6 is associated with Venus, unconditional love, compassion, acceptance, and contentment. If you see the number 6, it's indicating you need to maintain balance between your material-oriented ambitions and your spiritual mental health. Take accountability for your actions and stop being judgmental. Be open and transparent in all of your interactions to show respect for others. Have an attitude of gratitude, since a positive mindset attracts more prosperity into your life. Your spirit guides are encouraging you to explore and deepen your spiritual and personal development. The number 6 symbolizes all things domestic, including the home, family, and loved ones. Spend some time reconnecting with your home life and prioritizing it between obligations. The number 7 is connected with Neptune, vulnerability, wisdom, truth, and seeking knowledge. If you see the number 6, it's an indication to do some self-reflection, contemplation, and educate yourself more in depth regarding your goals and spirituality. The number 7 is all about evolving and developing new talents, listening to your inner voice, and being vulnerable enough to grow and progress in many areas of your life. You have a very meaningful purpose in life that requires you to connect, inspire, and help others. You are urged to lead by example and motivate others to find their own interests and meaning in life. The number 8 is associated with Saturn, power, abundance, ambition, and authority. If you keep saying angel number 8, it's an optimistic message of motivation, praising you for your accomplishments, progress, and telling you to keep pushing forward. The angels are showing you how to attract prosperity while still fulfilling your higher spiritual calling. Your ancestors are telling you that abundance will come, and don't be concerned with how or when. Simply put, keep working hard and be open to the unforeseen. Remember, prosperity can come in the form of financial or spiritual abundance. Your spirit guides are sending you an optimistic message of motivation, praising you for your accomplishments. The number 9 is associated with Mars, vision, enlightenment, higher consciousness, integrity, and selflessness. If you keep saying the number 9, it's an indication of your soul's higher purpose being achieved. This number inspires us to look within at our own life, but from a different perspective. The universe is providing you the spiritual motivation you need to ascend to the next phase of your spiritual practice. It's a sign from your spirit guides that it's time to get down to business. Prepare yourself today because you have a lot of work ahead of you. It's a sign that it's time to let go of a certain situation, connection, or chapter in your life that's no longer beneficial to you. Do not fear. Something special will improve your life in a variety of ways. The number 9 is a profoundly spiritual number representing the significance of our life purpose and has a powerful and high vibration. The number 0 represents the universe, infinity, unity, contentment, the seasonal cycles, and spiritual development. The frequency of the number 0 is very intense, and it just basically intensifies any of the numbers that are combined with it. You'll see these spiritual intentions repeated in many different cultures and spiritual paths, and they often appear in sacred geometry, sigil creation, and other spiritual symbols. So how do you figure out the meaning and interpretation of any number that you see? Okay, so I'm going to use as an example the number 727 because I used my niece as an example earlier, and she told me that she's often seeing the number 727. So I wrote a post just for that, so I'm going to use that as an example. Now, when you look at the number 727, you'll immediately notice that there's 2 sevens in it. So this gives you an indication that the number 7 is pretty strong and powerful. So if you go back to the numbers that I just listed to you, 0 through 9, you'll go and look at 7, and you'll take a look and really read through that and kind of let the meaning of that sink in with you and see how that is currently applying to your life and, with it, whatever's going on in your current life. Now, the number 2 is in there as well, so it definitely has value. Its meaning and spiritual purpose is included in that number. It's not to be discounted. It's just not as prominent as the number 7. Now, the last thing you'll do is if you're seeing a number that's a double digit, or triple digit in this case, like 727, what you do is you want to bring it down to a solid digit and figure out, because this is going to also add some additional groundwork and understanding the energies and vibrations of this number as a whole picture, right? So when you add them together, you're going to take 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 2 is 16. And again, we're still at a double digit, so we need to bring it down to a single digit. So we're going to add 1 plus 6, which equals 7. So again, we're really getting this heavy influence of the number 7. So in this case, you'd really want to look at the number 7. And, side note, bring in the information of the 2, and that will help you really interpret it. Because as you read through those, you're going to say, oh yeah, this really is resonating with me. I really understand what they're trying to say here. And in that way, you're able to do your own work in your own divination work as far as what the numbers are saying to you. Okay, so let's do one more example of this. So I'm going to do angel number 111, so 111, because this one comes up a lot. I hear people ask about 111 a lot, so let's do that one. So again, you're seeing 1 a lot in this one, right? So again, you're really going to know right off the bat that number 1 is really influential in this. And you're going to go back to the meaning of the number 1 and see how that relates to you and your life or any questions you've been having lately. And again, we're at this triple number, so we need to bring it down to a single digit. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So although it's not as profound, it's not as significant, it still is important in this meaning. So you'll also include the interpretation of the number 3 into your, reading. Also, when you take a look at this, you'll see that 11 is in that number. So you'll include the meanings of master number 11, which will be a part of this reading as well. And like I said, I'll go into master numbers in another video, but that just kind of gives you another example of how to do this yourself, because you can do this yourself. You do not have to rely on anyone else. This is how everyone else that's doing it is figuring this out. They're just knowing the basis of those numbers. And I have them listed here on the video, but I also have them listed on a blog post that I'll have linked down below. So if you need to, write them down or copy them, it's probably easier to do it off the blog. So whatever works for you, whatever's easiest for you to come back to and look at these. Now, you might be asking, where did I get these individual numbers from? So I have my sources listed down at the bottom of pretty much all of my articles, but this one in particular, I've got it listed at the bottom of my numerology post that also has all the numbers, the 0 through 9. So you can see down below there, it looks like I've got, the book, What is Numerology by Sonia Ducey, which I talked about earlier. We've got The Power of Birthdays, Stars, and Numbers, Secrets of the Universe in 100 Symbols, A History of Magic, Witchcraft, and the Occult, Sacred Geometry, Signs and Symbols. So I have numerous, you probably don't need the whole list, but I have numerous sources that are linked down below of where I got those interpretations from. As I started reading through many different books and sources, you could see a common theme in these numbers. And I did my best to just try to lay those out and summarize them for you in those meanings. So I hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Otherwise, lots of love to you. And remember, as always, stay peculiar. I do want to, versatility, resourcefulness, energy, and really heavy fearing. See, that was like a slight Freudian slip. The number 2 is associated. Ow, I bit my tongue.